During the construction of the world's deepest diving pool in Dubai, engineers had already dug a 45-meter vertical shaft when a surprising twist brought the project to a halt. News came in that Poland had just opened a pool called Deep Spot, and its depth was also 45 meters. That meant Dubai could no longer claim the record. If they wanted to make history, they had to push the depth beyond 45, all the way to 60 meters. On paper, this sounded simple, but in reality, it opened the door to one of the toughest engineering problems of the project. Experts calculated that if the pool went down to 60 meters, the natural pressure of underground water would push it upward with immense force, just like when you throw a full water bottle into a swimming pool and it refuses to sink because the water's buoyant force pushes it up. The same thing could happen here. The entire pool could literally float out of the ground. At this stage, it looked like Dubai's dream of building the deepest pool in the world might collapse. But then, one idea changed everything. Welcome back to Zim Voice. Whenever we talk about record-breaking projects, Dubai is the first name that comes to mind. With over 425 Guinness World Records, the city holds the #1 spot in the Middle East, and its rulers are determined to keep it that way. Adding to this incredible list is a project requested by Crown Prince Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Today the world knows it as Deep Dive Dubai. This pool isn't just water and walls, it's an entire world of its own. With a depth of 197 feet, or 60 meters, Deep Dive Dubai holds the official title of the world's deepest swimming pool. Inside it are 14 million liters of water, the same as 6 Olympic-sized swimming pools, or enough for 90,000 people to use in a single day. What makes it even more fascinating is its theme, an underwater city where divers explore scenes that look like a sunken town frozen in time. To keep this massive body of water crystal clear, a special filtration system was developed with NASA's help, capable of purifying all 14 million liters every 6 hours. No matter how hot it gets outside, whether 50 degrees Celsius or 20 degrees Celsius, the water is kept at a steady, comfortable 30 degrees Celsius for divers. But while these features are extraordinary, what makes Deep Dive Dubai truly legendary are the engineering feats behind it. So let's break down the challenges the builders faced. The first obstacle was design. The Crown Prince wanted a pool that reflected Dubai's cultural identity. Before oil and tourism, pearl diving was the lifeline of the city. Skilled divers would plunge into the open sea without modern gear, collect shells, and sell the pearls inside. Since this history shaped Dubai's early economy, the pool was designed in the form of a seashell, looking like an open shell by the shore. That solved the external appearance, but the real test was creating the deepest dive pool on Earth, underground. To make this a reality, architects and engineers from around the world were called in. The easiest suggestion was to simply build a 45-meter tall structure above ground and fill it with water. But Guinness rules required the pool to be below ground level. And there was another issue: Dubai's scorching heat. An above-ground pool would be too exposed to the desert climate, making it difficult to maintain. The decision was made. The world's deepest pool would be dug beneath the earth. The plan involved carving a vertical shaft 65 feet wide and 147 feet deep. Not only did they have to dig it out, but they also had to prevent the walls from collapsing. For this, they used a diaphragm wall, a reinforced barrier of steel cages filled with concrete. Special excavators cut the ground in sections. The cages were lowered in and concrete poured. Piece by piece, The diaphragm wall took shape, and the process lasted over 2 months. Next came excavation. The plan was to dig 5 meters at a time until they reached the bottom. But after just 8 meters, they hit a major problem. Groundwater began seeping in. Because the diaphragm wall was built in segments, tiny gaps allowed water to leak through. Soon, the shaft was filling up with water. To continue digging, powerful pumps were installed to continuously drain it out, running non-stop for nearly 2 years. By the time excavation finished, more than 45,000 tons of soil, sand, and rock had been removed. When the pumps were turned off, the shaft flooded again. The only way forward was to fully waterproof the diaphragm wall. Several months were spent sealing it before the pumps could finally be shut down. Altogether, excavation and waterproofing dragged on for more than 3 years. But just when the team thought they were ready, the shocking news arrived. Poland's 45-meter pool had opened. Chita, for Dubai's engineers, this was devastating. The project's purpose was to claim the world record, and suddenly that record was gone. The Crown Prince's response was simple: dig deeper. But that posed a serious danger. With groundwater beginning just 8 meters below the surface, extending the shaft meant exposing the structure to even greater buoyant force, enough to push the pool upward like a floating object. Construction was paused until a solution could be found. After extensive research, engineers came up with an innovative plan. They extended the shaft by another 15 meters, but this lower section was built with a narrower diameter, reducing the surface area exposed to groundwater pressure. In addition, they created an under-reamed base. Similar to how an anchor holds a ship in place, this method secures the structure deep into the ground so it cannot shift upward. With these 2 adjustments, the pool's depth increased to 60 meters, officially reclaiming the Guinness World Record. But challenges didn't stop there. The deeper the shaft went, the more urgent it became to fill it with water. Remember, the buoyant force could only be countered by the weight of water inside. Leaving the pool empty for too long was risky, as the entire structure could be pushed upward. Filling the pool was another massive undertaking. Deep Dive Dubai required 14 million liters. At the speed provided by Dubai's water authority, it would take 3 months. To meet the deadline, more than 100 tanker trucks were brought in. And even then, it took 1 full month to fill. Of course, before the water went in, the interior was fitted with its unique sunken city theme. After filling, new issues emerged. Some materials began to rust, and certain objects started floating. The solution was to drill holes into these items and weigh them down so they stayed in place. After all the finishing touches, Deep Dive Dubai opened quietly for special guests in 2021 and to the public in 2022. The exact cost of the project has never been revealed by Dubai's government. To them, this pool is not about money, it's about pride and prestige. So what do you think about this incredible engineering marvel? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and share. See you in the next amazing video.